Okay, let's go.
Today we're tackling something huge, something that really sits at the heart of whether you win or lose in the markets. We're talking about the emotional discipline of trading.
All right, let's just jump right in with a really powerful idea here. Most people think trading is all about fighting the market, right? Finding that one perfect strategy or trying to guess where things are headed next. But what if I told you that's not the real fight? The real battle, the one that truly matters, isn't happening on your screen. It's happening right between your ears. So let's be honest for a second. Have you ever done this? You make a solid plan, you feel totally confident, and then the moment your money is actually at risk, you just throw it all out the window and do the complete opposite. Yeah, if that sounds familiar, then you already know exactly who we're up against today. So our first step here is to really pinpoint who the real opponent is. And look, it's not the crazy market swings, it's not some hidden algorithm working against you. No, the biggest thing standing between you and actually being successful is, well, it's you. It's your own mind. And this is the thing, it's a fundamental truth that so many traders just completely miss. I mean, they'll spend years, literally years, perfecting their charts and their analysis, but they totally ignore the one thing that's actually clicking the mouse, their own emotional state. Think about it. A brilliant strategy is absolutely worthless if your own mind won't let you stick to it. Okay, so who are the main bad guys in this story? Here they are. We've got these four emotional villains just whipping up a storm inside a trader's head. You've got fear, whispering in your ear to sell way too early. Then there's greed, telling you to hold on for just a little bit longer. Hope? Oh man, hope is a dangerous one. It makes you pretend that stop loss doesn't exist. And then regret comes along, making you chase after bad trades just to try and get back what you lost. It is such a powerful, destructive mix. And the worst part? They all feed off each other. So you can probably see where this is going, right? It's not just random emotional spikes. These things, they build on each other. They create this vicious cycle that can totally wreck even the most brilliant trading plan you could ever come up with. And this right here, this shows the two paths you can take. It's a stark contrast. On one side, you have the emotional novice. They're trying to control the market, to outsmart it, acting on gut feelings and whatever story they're telling themselves. But the disciplined pro, they know they can't control the market. The only thing they can control is their own response. They're not getting swept up in the drama. They are laser-focused on logic and probabilities. And here's what that emotional roller coaster looks like in real life. It all starts with a big win. Feels amazing, right? But boom, suddenly you're overconfident, you're greedy. So what do you do next? You take a much riskier trade, totally break your own rules, because hey, you're on a roll. And of course, that often leads to a big loss. Now you're feeling regret, you're feeling fear. And that fear, it makes you gun-shy on the next good trade that comes along. You hesitate, you get out too early, and miss the profit. And, you see, the cycle just keeps on going. So the big question is, how in the world do you break out of that? Well, the answer is, you've got to build some mental armor. This is all about shifting from just reacting to everything the market throws at you to being prepared with a solid set of defensive tools. All right, here's your defense plan. It's a simple but super powerful three-step process. Step 1, you make all your decisions before you even think about placing a trade. Your entry point, your exit for profit, and this is the big one, where you're going to take a small, planned loss. That's your stop loss. Step 2, you keep a trading journal, but not just for numbers. You write down your emotions. Why did you make that decision? And step 3, you have to change your mindset. You have to accept that losses are just part of the game. They're not failures, they're the price of your education. And a really critical piece of that armor is what we call risk management. Seriously, think of it like your last line of financial defense. Its only job is to guarantee that you live to trade another day. The idea is that no single trade, no single mistake should ever have the power to knock you out of the game completely. Okay, so how do you make that practical? There's a simple, game-changing rule for this, the 1 to 2% rule. It's exactly what it sounds like. If you've got, say, $10,000 in your account, you never, ever risk more than $100 or $200 on a single trade. Now, by keeping the stakes that small, this rule does something almost magical. It helps you emotionally detach from the outcome. I mean, when any single loss is just a small dent, it can't really hurt you. And when you're not afraid of the loss, you can actually think clearly and stick to your plan. Okay, so once we've built up our defenses, we can start playing offense. We can start to build that proactive mindset of a real professional. And this is more than just trying not to mess up. It's about fundamentally thinking in a different way.
And this next idea, this is one of the toughest lessons for any trader to learn. Our brains just crave action, don't they? We feel like if we're not in a trade, we're not making money, we're not doing anything. But a pro understands their trading capital is like ammunition. And they're not going to just spray and pray. They're going to wait patiently for that perfect, high probability shot.
So what does that really look like day to day? Well, it looks like patience, like the real ability to just sit on your hands for days if you have to, waiting for your setup. It's a deep trust in your process, not your feelings. It's executing your plan with precision, no hesitation. And, super important, it's having the perspective to know when it's time to just shut down the computer, walk away, and reset. And you have to get this next part. It's a huge mindset shift. We're taught to think of discipline as something restrictive, like a cage. But in the world of trading, discipline is the total opposite. It's the key. It's what sets you free from the prison of your own emotions, your own fear, and your own greed. All right, this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, and maybe the most important one. This isn't about learning some new trick or a new skill. This is about a fundamental transformation. It's about changing your very identity as a trader. I mean, really think about that for a second. Anyone can act disciplined for a couple of trades, right? But the second the pressure gets real, we always fall back on who we really are. The ultimate goal here is to make discipline your default mode, to make it your core identity, so that following your plan is just automatic. It's as natural as breathing. So how do you actually do that? How do you build a new identity? You do it with small, daily rituals. Every morning before you start, you set an intention. Ask yourself, am I going to follow my system today or my emotions? Then, during the day, before you click buy or sell, just take one long, slow breath. Just create a tiny pause to break that emotional impulse. And at the end of the day, review your decisions, not your profit or loss. The only question you need to answer is, was I disciplined today? That's it. And really, that's what this all boils down to. You could be the best chart analyst on the planet, but it means absolutely nothing if you don't have the discipline to follow your own plan over and over again. The real win in trading isn't about finding that one perfect, amazing setup. It's about flawlessly executing your plan on a totally average setup, day after day after day. So that's where we're going to leave it. Because the market, it's always going to test you. It will dangle that carrot of greed, and it will hit you with the stick of fear. That's a guarantee. The only question that's left is, when that moment comes, who will you be? Who will you have trained yourself to be? The emotional novice tossed around by every wave, or the disciplined professional? That's a choice you get to make every single day.